Welcome to this explainer, everyone. We are dropping straight into the freezing, frankly terrifying night of December 22nd, 1704. We're going to do a deep dive into one of the most astonishing last stands in all of military history. According to the historical accounts we're examining today, this single night forever altered the trajectory of the Indian subcontinent. It was an unparalleled clash of sheer, overwhelming military force going up against just unbreakable willpower. Just picture this number in your head, 40. That is an impossibly small group of exhausted warriors barricaded inside a tiny mud fort, entirely surrounded by an imperial army of 1 million men. I know, it honestly sounds like something out of a cinematic myth, but historical sources thoroughly document this staggering reality. Just 40 Sikhs, along with their 10th guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, facing an absolute ocean of hostile forces. Section 1. Ek abhedya ghirabandi, an impenetrable siege. Let's get right into this intense standoff where Mughal commander Vizier Khan anticipated a swift, easy victory, but instead met an unyielding wall of resistance. To really grasp the sheer asymmetrical terror of this siege, you have to imagine a literal handful of defenders facing an ocean of imperial military might. Vizier Khan's coalition forces numbered an estimated 1 million heavily armed men. We're talking artillery, cavalry, the whole shebang. They were fully expecting a 1-hour skirmish at most, yet opposing them were 40 starving, exhausted men huddled in a makeshift mud structure. So how on earth did they hold out? Well, to understand that, we need a little context.
Moving on to Section 2, Journey from Anandpur to Chamkaur. Let's step back slightly to understand the decades of geopolitical turmoil that forced these 40 men into this freezing mud fort in the first place.
According to historical texts, the roots of this battle trace back decades. Back in 1675, religious persecution by Emperor Aurangzeb led to the martyrdom of the 9th guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur. In response to that, his son, the 10th guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, created the Khalsa in 1699. This was a saint-soldier brotherhood explicitly meant to protect the oppressed, completely regardless of their background. Now, this growing egalitarian military power really threatened local authorities, which ultimately culminated in a massive, multi-month siege of the Sikh stronghold at Anandpur Sahib in 1704.
And the journey to this mud fort was paved with absolute betrayal. After enduring an agonizing 8-month siege marked by starvation, the Sikhs were actually promised safe passage by Mughal commanders who swore solemn oaths on the Quran and Hill Rajputs who swore on the sacred cow. But literally the moment the Sikhs left the fort, the alliance forces broke their oaths and attacked. The source accounts detail a horrific ambush at the flooded, freezing Sarsa River. Historically, this event is known as Parivar Vichora. It was a chaotic bloodbath where the Guru's family was permanently scattered, eventually pushing the surviving 40 warriors toward the village of Chamkaur.
Section 3. Military Strategy of 40 Warriors. Now this is where things get truly fascinating. Look at how Guru Gobind Singh Ji transformed a simple 2-story mud house into a brilliant, impenetrable fortress. By utilizing a masterclass 3-tier guerrilla defense strategy, the Guru ensured that any advancing enemy would be neutralized before even reaching the walls. He didn't just place his men randomly, it was highly calculated. First, he positioned 8 archers at each of the mud house's 8 windows. Second, he placed his absolute elite warriors at the single, highly vulnerable north-facing door. Finally, he established a command center on the roof, acting as an elevated vantage point to direct the battle. It was pretty much a perfect defensive matrix against a sprawling, cumbersome army. When morning broke on December 22nd, Vizier Khan demanded immediate surrender. The Guru's response? A single, perfectly aimed, lethal arrow. That kick-started a devastating wave of calculated archery that wiped out overconfident generals and sent absolute panic rippling through the imperial ranks. When General Nahar Khan attempted to scale the wall, the Guru's arrow reportedly pierced straight through his heavy iron armor. General Garrett Khan was also swiftly killed. The sheer terror of this precision led another commander, Khwaja Mahmud, to literally cower behind a wall, completely refusing to face the defenders. Section 4. Unparalleled Martyrdom of the Sahibzadas. As the afternoon rolled in and ammunition started to run dry, the conflict took a much darker and more intimate turn, pushing the defenders to make some truly unthinkable sacrifices. So, the arrows run out. What do you do to prevent the fort from being overrun? The Sikhs executed this startling tactical pivot. They started launching terrifying 5-man melee assaults directly into the enemy lines. And let's be clear, these weren't standard sorties. They were absolute suicide missions. Bursting out of the gates with swords and spears, these tiny clusters of warriors inflicted catastrophic casualties.
It caused immense psychological terror on the million-man army, to the point where they genuinely started believing supernatural forces were inside that mud fort.
The historical sources detail an incredibly profound moment here. The Guru's own 18-year-old son, Baba Ajit Singh, stepped up and requested to join these squads. The accounts note that, rather than mourning, the Guru proudly watched his eldest son fight to his final breath, a testament to their unfathomable dedication to the cause. Armed and dressed for battle, this young warrior wreaked havoc on the Mughal lines until his weapons literally shattered in his hands. He fell only after sustaining over 320 wounds. And the unimaginable gravity of this siege is perfectly captured by his younger brother, Baba Jujar Singh, who was just 14 years old. Seeing his older brother fall, the teenager asked for permission to fight. When he was told he was too young and inexperienced, he reportedly replied, "I don't know how to fight, but I know how to die." He took to the battlefield with blinding speed, reportedly taking down 40 soldiers before achieving martyrdom right alongside his brother.
Section 5. Order of Khalsa and Departure. Now the crucial point is what happens next. Night falls and only 5 to 11 Sikhs remain alive inside this blood-soaked mud fort. The battle was paused for the night, and the Mughals were totally confident they would capture the Guru at dawn.
But inside the fort that night, something truly revolutionary took place. In this unprecedented display of democratic authority, the remaining Panj Pyare, the Council of 5 Sikhs, invoked the rules established back in 1699. They legally ordered the Guru to abandon his wish to die in battle alongside them. The source explains that because the survival of the entire Khalsa movement depended on his life, the Guru was bound by his own democratic laws to submit to the will of his disciples and escape.
The escape itself was a brilliant psychological trick. First, a warrior named Bhai Sangat Singh, who happened to look a lot like the Guru, dressed in his clothes and royal plume to act as a decoy. Then, the Guru and 3 companions departed right at midnight. But here's the crazy part. Instead of sneaking away silently, the Guru boldly clapped his hands in the pitch darkness and loudly announced his exit, shouting out to the Mughal guards. This sudden noise terrified the sleep-deprived soldiers so much that they mistakenly started slaughtering each other in the chaotic darkness.
The escape worked, but the physical toll was just brutal. Imagine walking barefoot, bleeding, exhausted, through the thorn-filled Mashiwara jungle for days with no sleep, all after losing your family and your army. Yet, the Guru maintained absolute spiritual composure. As our source material highlights, his survival was ultimately secured when he was miraculously smuggled to safety by 2 former horse merchants. These were 2 selfless Muslim brothers named Ghani Khan and Nabi Khan, who risked their own lives to disguise the Guru and carry him safely past Mughal checkpoints. Section 6. Safarnama and Legacy of Chamkaur. Let's look at the aftermath, because while Wazir Khan technically captured a completely empty mud fort, the moral and psychological victory rested entirely with the Khalsa.
From relative safety, the Guru penned the Zafarnama, which literally translates to the letter of victory. Delivered directly to Emperor Aurangzeb, this historical document wasn't a plea for mercy, not at all. It was a fierce moral indictment that exposed the emperor's deceit, his breaking of sacred oaths, and the blatant cowardice of his generals. According to historical texts, the sheer moral weight of this letter reportedly shook Emperor Aurangzeb to his very core.
The sheer impact of this battle transcended any religious divide. Decades later, an impartial Muslim Sufi poet named Alayar Khan Jogi summed up this universal resonance beautifully. He wrote, "There is only one place of pilgrimage in India where a father sacrificed his sons for the sake of God." By openly acknowledging this immense sacrifice, he cemented the battle's legacy far beyond any single religious boundary, even risking his own social standing to declare that mud fort at Chamkaur the ultimate site of pilgrimage. Today, the echoes of those 40 warriors are still felt deeply in modern Punjab. Every year, millions gather between December 20th and 22nd for the Shahidi Jora Mela at the exact site of the mud fort, which is now marked by the majestic Gurudwara Sri Katalgarh Sahib. It stands there not as some memorial of defeat, but as a vibrant, enduring symbol of unfathomable resilience, truth, and justice that just continues to inspire millions of global devotees.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. When absolute, brutal power clashes with an unbreakable resolve, who truly wins? Looking at the sheer facts we've covered today, did a 1 million-man army truly conquer a mud fort that night, or did 40 individuals permanently conquer the pages of history?
Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Battle of Chamkaur. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.